Good evening. This is Josh Cunnings with EnviroNews California, and I'm here tonight with Mark McAfee.
Nice to meet you.
Say it again.
Mark McAfee with Organic Pastures Dairy.
Nice to meet you, Mark, at the Weston A. Price Foundation's Wise Tradition Conference in 2012. And you have several products, right? You have some cheese, I see, and some organic whole milk.
Yep,
You've got a raw cocoa. And
we don't need more. That was discontinued without our consent a couple years ago from the FDA. But what we do have is raw whole milk. We've got a kefir product. We've got butter, cream, cheese. We have wonderful almonds that are unpasteurized. We also have ground beef, organic ground beef. So we have a whole bunch of great products that are all whole, organic, and grass-fed.
and very popular, especially at independent health food stores around the West Coast or the whole country.
Around California. Remember that raw milk is it's the only food in America that's prohibited from going across state lines. But yet, oysters kill 15 people a year from Vibrio down in New Orleans, but because politicians like to eat oysters, they don't ban oysters across state lines. So it's very much a political issue in terms of where raw milk can go and not go. So we have to stay inside of California to sell our raw milk products.
And has there ever been, to your knowledge, a poor batch that was sold?
You know what? It's interesting. You have to kind of redefine what safe food is. If you look at pasteurized milk, there's been 8 children that have died from perfectly pasteurized milk since 1998 because of all the allergens that are found in pasteurized milk, standardized, pasteurized, homogenized milk. There's never been any deaths from raw milk in the state of California that I'm aware of. The CDC website has no recorded deaths from raw milk in California or anywhere in the United States. But yet there's 77 deaths from pasteurized milk during that same period of time since 1970-72. Things are getting better, however. Things are evolving and getting better. Raw milk is emerging tremendously strong here in California.
And is that because of just sheer consumer demand?
It's interesting that pasteurized milk is falling at 1% per year. People can't drink pasteurized milk. Some people can, but many people can't. The allergies are so high, the lactose intolerance and non-digestibility of it. You know, as a consumer, just think of yourself. You go down to the dairy case, you buy this milk, and you take it home, and it puts you on the toilet for 12 hours, or gas cramps, or allergies. You're not going to do that again. It's a bad experience. But you go down and buy raw milk, and you have a great experience. That's dollar voting. That's dollar voting. That's building a market that actually decides its own fate. And that's exactly what's happening. The consumers are saying, you know what, I'm going to do something that's good for me. I'm not going to do that gas cramps again or that allergies again. So, you know, the truth is the truth, and dollar voting shows the market changes.
Now, tell me, Mark, you said they are the powers that be. Is this the federal government saying you can only sell it in California, or is this California state government saying you can only sell it in California, or is it both?
No, it's just the federal government that says we cannot take raw milk across state lines. State of California has no jurisdiction. We can do whatever we want taking it across state lines. The federal government, if I do that, I get in a lot of trouble. State of California actually regulates us pretty fairly now. A few years ago, it was pretty rough, but they've actually fairly smoothed out. You know, the governor drinks raw milk. The regulators have
wait a minute. The governor, you said? Governor Jerry Brown drinks raw milk.
I've got
are you trying to tell me that if he went to Nevada and wanted that same raw milk, the feds would bust him or bust the people that try to supply it to him in Nevada? Let's say Jerry Brown's visiting political associates in Arizona, doing a visit on water. Are you telling me he can only consume that raw milk in California?
I have a picture of Jerry Brown drinking a glass of our raw milk saying, thank you, this is great. So I know he drinks raw milk. And the interesting thing is that he has directed his regulators to be more even-keeled and fair with raw milk and appreciate and have his regulators appreciate and support the emerging raw milk market. That is not what you hear from the FDA, which is ban it, jail them. Raw milk is horrible, 1 drop will kill you. But in raw milk in California, that is not the story. That is not the truth. The truth is raw milk can be very, very safe if responsibly produced. I can go into Humboldt County right now, which is one of the only counties in California that prohibits the sale of raw milk. And they will be able to give you advice from their agriculture advisor on how to grow marijuana properly, but they will ban the sale of raw milk. That's how ridiculous this is.
Good grief, Mark. I'm getting goosebumps. This is unbelievable. The Food Politics USA. Now, the act was the bill is SB 510, and these raids have achieved.
The Food Safety Modernization Act.
Yes. They're labeling it something as innocuous as the Food Safety Modernization Act, and it has sparked these federal goon squads. I mean, sorry for some people have referred to them as that, and this has been multiple raids that have occurred around the country. Now, are you afraid?
No.
Mark, are you afraid?
No. No, I'm not.
You're not afraid of one of our, in light of all the recent, raids, blatant police raids that have gone on around the country. of a taxpayer-funded Men in Black goon squad coming and kicking in your door? You're not afraid of that?
No. I'm in complete compliance with all state law, and I'm inspected in its citizens' right as a matter of legislative law signed by the governor in 1977 that raw milk is a right all citizens in California shall have if we comply with the law. I'm 100% compliance with the law. If I was to have some kind of FDA SWAT team raid on our dairy, I would push send and 10,000 people would go freaking crazy. They do not want that. There's an inverse relationship between the popularity of raw milk and harassment of raw milk. The FDA has already been treated to a couple of my rounds with them where they do not want to come and pick a fight with Organic Pastures Dairy because they're not fighting with me. They're fighting with 10,000 moms that'll come unglued if the FDA harasses their farmer. So they've learned their lesson to back off on raw milk in California, and they understand that the more they even say the word raw milk and say something bad about it or try to oppress it, the more popular it becomes, because I don't know a whole lot of people that like the FDA. But I tell you what's more powerful than anything anywhere is the power of the mother, the power of the consumer, the power of the dollar voters, the people at the core of this country that have the internet and your information you're providing here today that get conscious. They become aware of the fact there are choices to be made, there's battles to be fought, because their children are paying the price. The autism rates, the diabetic rates, the obesity rates, what's going on in their children is the price being paid by what's going on with these highly processed foods and the GMOs and all things we don't know because there's been no testing.
One more thing before we truly wrap this up. We keep going on about this, but this is the most critical issue facing us now, I believe. For our country to survive, children they're going to need to do what they did in Cuba, which is figure out how to grow food on their rooftops. Do you believe that?
Hippocrates said 2,400 years ago, he said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. And the kind of foods we're talking about, our whole foods, are not brought in from China, thank you very much. They're grown by local farmers on local dirt right here, where farmers and consumers get connected and consume and nourish and feed and have a community together. And that's where I think America needs to go to satisfy a couple things. Jobs. It creates a lot of jobs to do that. And number two, prevent this disaster in terms of illness that we've got in this country. Prevention through nutrition. So there's two huge crises. We're talking about health all the time. We're talking about jobs all the time. What better solution than American dirt and American whole food nutrition to make our kids healthier and happier?